PRISM. What can you tell me about this project and why you chose to be a part of it?
Well, it's about El Chapo back in his early days. I can't really say much, honestly. I don't even know much about it. It's kind of under wraps still for whatever reason. But yeah, it's about El Chapo back when he was younger, and it shows just a timeline of certain things that happened to him during that time. And honestly, that's as much as I know. I'm supposed to keep everything else under wrap, unfortunately. So
Oh, okay. Other than being an actress, you're also a dancer.
yeah,
How difficult is it to be a dancer? Because I feel like it takes a lot of physicality.
yeah. I started at a really young age. It was always really natural for me. However, I tried ballet when I was very young. I must have been about like 3, and my mom said I was like in a little pink tutu, and I was just not having it, and I walked out of the class because it was just too structured for me. And I felt like it just was the dancing type. It was too slow for me, so I transferred over to like hip hop and jazz, and um did all that stuff, belly dancing, all the ones where I got to move fast and it was a little bit more free is what I liked. So
Uh, yeah. So I was reading that because of a stuttering problem, you switched from acting to dancing. Uh, how did that come about?
actually, so that came about when I had the speech impediment. I was really young. It started when I was a very young girl and just started talking. And then it kept with me up until I finally, I want to say around like 9 or 10, I was comfortable talking. I couldn't say my R's or my S's, and I was just having a lot of problems. And with that, I never had the confidence to speak, so I just didn't talk, and I was very shy. And so that's when my mom got me into choir, because I love singing, because you don't really have to enunciate when you sing. So I could sing a lot better than I could talk, and I just loved it. It was just in me. So yeah, my mom put me. She actually made me try out for a chamber choir when I want to say I was 7. I could get that wrong. And so I was singing with all age groups for this church that was in town, and we weren't religious at all, but it was a pretty well-known chamber choir that you would have to audition for. And I do remember that day because I was so nervous, and I just remember just feeling like I couldn't even speak. I couldn't sing. I couldn't do anything. I didn't want to be there. I was nervous as hell, and I just didn't think I was gonna get the part. And sure enough, I did. And I remember when I was auditioning for it, my voice was cracking because I was so nervous, and I wasn't really properly singing. Because the nerves just kind of took over. But they wanted me, and so I did that for, I want to say, 6 years.
Wow.
So yeah, and that also helped me with the confidence. Not entirely. I was singing with a lot of people, so I got to kind of just step into the background and sing. But I was always uncomfortable when it came to like, oh, do you want to try out for a solo performance? It was like, hell no, I do not. Because I was so shy, and I was so uncomfortable, and I didn't like being the center of attention. I hated it. I still kind of do. And yeah, so that really did help me with the whole speech impediment thing. That gave me a little bit more confidence. I think it was a good idea. And yeah, so singing's just been with me my whole life.
So, what inside you did you have to muster up in order to get through that speech impediment and all the mental health issues that come with having a
Yeah,
speech impediment like that?
yeah. I just remember feeling like there was something wrong with me, and I was just such a shy girl. that I did have friends. Yeah, just in the emotional part of it was the kids making fun of me. I remember being at the grocery store with my mom, and we would run into one of her friends, and then they would, start talking to me, and I didn't want to talk to them because they couldn't understand me. And if I tried to form a sentence, they wouldn't be able to understand the sentence that I was saying. So I would have to repeat myself 5, 6 times, and then my mom would finally have to say, she's saying this. And that was always hard. Kids making fun of me, always hard. Getting up and talking in class, goddamn, I hated it. Like, it was the worst. It was horrible. It was just so embarrassing. And yeah, so it was quite a struggle. And then, of course, when I went to speech therapy, they would call me over the intercom, and they would, say my name and say, Sarah, please go to this classroom, which was the special needs classroom, because that's where I had my speech therapy. And so, the kids were rough about that one as well. And that lasted until I was maybe 9, 10. Yeah, I think speech therapy stopped when I got to middle school. Yeah, but I still struggled even. Yeah.
Well, clearly you're a very intelligent person. You have quite the understanding for cryptocurrency and
Yeah.
NFTs. How did you get started with that? Because it's pretty brand new, and it seems that not a lot of people quite understand a good grasp of how to do cryptocurrency, how NFTs
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, I was doing an interview the other day, and I was explaining how I think everything's still at the beginning stages and everybody's kind of still feeling it out. And with anything big, I feel like it hits its peak, and then there's a shift that happens. Because when we were seeing coins just start popping up left and right, like these new coins that no one knew anything about, they didn't have much of a description, they were just there, and people could make money off of them, if they were brand new, and then, everything was booming. So they buy a certain amount of those random ass coins, and they make a buck or two, which is, good for them. It's gambling at that point, but but I think right now with crypto, and the same thing happened with NFTs, like everybody, people were paying a lot of money for these huge companies that were making NFTs, like Bored Ape Yacht Club. And I think everything kind of like plateaued, and then now we're in this position right now where we're kind of like weeding out all the stuff that doesn't work. And I think we're like cleaning up and cleaning house, and then we'll get back up on our feet, which I think we're slowly doing. And I think all those things are here to stay. Did that answer your question? I'm sorry, did I go off?
Definitely did. NFTs are, like you said, they're still in the beginning stages.
Yeah.
It seems like people are treating them kind of like trading cards were before.
Yeah.
It's just like, bragging rights, I guess you could say, to
Yeah,
have something.
totally, yeah.
Where do your NFTs come in? What do you feel like your NFTs give, and I guess how they're different from others?
So with everything still kind of finding its way, I believe, and I have an idea of where I would like to see NFTs go. I feel like there's a lot of useful ways to use them that we just haven't quite experienced yet. I know a lot of companies are finding new ways to like use them. I could go into the whole spiel of where I see them to be going. I wouldn't even know where to start, and it would be very long. But so with my NFTs, I created them because I wanted a old time. So have you seen my NFTs by any chance?
Yes.
Okay. So, the 1930s, 40s pinup. I got the idea. I'm a gamer. Do you play games? You're a
Definitely.
gamer? Oh, you do?
Yeah.
What ones? Are you PlayStation or Xbox?
I'm PC mostly, but I also have
Oh,
Xbox
okay.
and
PC.
PlayStation.
Yeah. Okay. I started PC.
Yeah.
That's where I started, and then the Xbox came out, and then but have you heard of the game Fallout or Elder Scroll?
Yes,
Okay. Have you
both
played
of
either
them.
one of them?
I play both of them.
Oh, you do? Do
Yeah.
you like really like them, or like you've dabbled with them?
I'm a casual gamer, so
A
I'm not
casual
too
game?
into them. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm a heavy gamer. But so I got the pinup idea from the Fallout
Yeah.
game, the Nuka-Cola girl.
Yeah.
Do you know? Yeah. Okay. So, and of course it's like the game is set in like post-apocalyptic, that era where it's like very like the technology was booming, and then everything happened. And yeah, so I got the Nuka-Cola girl concept, and then I was like, it'd be really cool. Oh, this is another thing. So when Web3 came out,
Mhm.
and it was describing what it would be, I don't know if you as a gamer, me as a gamer, I personally felt like, okay, so it's an open world concept. It's like a map, like you can go around interacting with people, like, you can purchase property, you can, do all these things. And in my head, I'm like, I've been doing this for like 10 years. It's just an open world concept game.
Mhm.
But now we're calling it like Web3 and coming up with all this other crap. And then did you feel like that?
Kind of, because we've already had a couple of games that were similar to that. It
Yeah,
just seems
yeah.
like now it's more popularized.
Yeah, and they changed it in a way to where it wasn't like this isn't a video game, but it was like,
Mhm.
nah, it kind of is.
Yeah.
And in that case, like a bunch of us have already been like doing all this stuff. So there was a part of me that got a little like butthurt about it because I was just like, nah,
Mhm.
I've been doing this shit for 12 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so anyway, so I was thinking, wouldn't it be really great if I took that 1930
Mhm.
40s like pinup look, that Hollywood, that old, and like put it into Web3 for commercial branding? Because there's always going to be advertisements no matter what happens, because this is where people get their money and put their products out, and there will always be advertising. And in Web3, there will be eventually. And so I was thinking, what a beautiful thing to like have the part of the past, being her, very
Mhm.
Marilyn Monroe, Hollywood, and, bring it with us to the future of Web3 and do product placement. So that is the idea with it. And then that also goes into I have so many ideas for how NFTs could be incorporated into
Mhm.
Web3, into VR. Like, it's just my brain goes like 1,000 miles per hour when it comes to like those kind of ideas and how we could use them and how people can make money off of them.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm about to talk to a Web3 company about all this, about some ideas
Mhm.
and get started on all that to like further that next step. So
So when you start getting these ideas, because it seems like you have so many different ideas, how do you begin to materialize them?
um well, the first thing I had to do was come up with how I was gonna do the ETHegirl
Yeah.
collection. So I learned okay how to do all that stuff, and then I got a photographer. I made sure I set things up properly the way I saw it happening. My best friend happens to be a graphic designer. She lives in Chile. And so one day I texted her and I was like, hey, I got this idea. I want it to look like that. And here are the pictures. And I sent over the pictures. And she's like, oh, I
Mhm.
know exactly what you want. And she also has gamed before. Like she's not like she's played Fallout a lot. But I would say I'm addicted. I
Mhm.
don't think she's quite addicted. So she's a healthy gamer. Um, so yeah, and she was like, yeah, I know exactly what you want. And she sent me an example, or she sent me like this real quick template, and I was like, oh shit, yeah, that's it. And so ever since then, her and I work together, and we talk all the time. So it wasn't, it wasn't really going out of my way.
Yeah.
And then the next step was like, okay, minting it and then getting it out to the public. So that's when I hired a PR company, and we've been doing as much as we can there. And then it's going to NFT events, conferences, tech events, all those kind of things, which I'm happy to do and I love. That will be that kind of stuff. We started with the Hollywood aspect of it and the PR, in regards to like we stuck with the Hollywood theme, and we did PR. Went to events, but I'm gonna slowly dive more into like the tech world and the NFT world and all that stuff. So it's a process of just like getting it out there, getting the idea out there. And then the next step is I am talking to a company about it's all about Web3. So that's the next step, is like sitting down with them, really learning way more than I do or that I know now, and then executing it that way. So
that's fascinating to me. So when you go through all these events for NFTs, for tech, how many women do you come across?
honestly, the ones that I have gone to, they've only been they've been at artists events. So there was a couple artists where they're traditional artists, and then they made it into an NFT, and I kind of got the grasp of how those kind of parties, the flow of those. There's a lot of women, but again, like at those events, as far as I know, I can't remember meeting too many that were actually there because they also are in that business. They were just there to be, to look at the art and to be at the event itself. But but I do know a lot of, like, just from Twitter and just being on OpenSea and being on Discords, like there are a lot of really good designers and a lot of good NFT creators that are women. And I try to support them as much as possible.
Awesome. And
Yeah.
since you're such a huge gamer, how did that come about? How did you begin to embrace the world of gaming?
Oh, when I was very young. So I started PC. I started on the PC. I started with Battlefield. Do you ever play that on PC?
Very nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Love that game. So I started there, and then I played Doom on the PC. I played Age of Empire on the PC. I played like I had a love for like building houses. So when I was young, I would play the Sims game and just build houses. That's all I would do. My mom thought I was going to be an architect, and I was like, no, I just like decorating. I just like building things. Yeah, so I was pretty heavy on the PC. I played Van Helsing on the PC. What else did I play on the PC? I love Battlefield. I just remember being like, that was the best game on the PC. And then when I went to Xbox, I was like, it's not the same. And then I played a couple Star Wars game on PC that I thought were just like well above. They were so above their time. They were great. I forget what they're called though. Yeah, what else? I tried the World of Warcraft thing. I couldn't get into it. My brother did, but that's when I had found Elder Scroll before that. I started playing Morrowind when it came out, and I was like, this, hands down, best fucking game I've ever played. I was like, nothing could get better than this. Like mystical wise, like if you like that magic and you like that, if you like that kind of stuff, I was like, nothing gets better. And then my brother was like, well, why don't you try World of Warcraft? And I think I I like got on his account. I was like, no, nope, like this is not anywhere, this is not anywhere the level of what I'm used to and what I like too. Because World of Warcraft was always like online, and I didn't like that. I didn't want to talk to people. So, if I could go on Elder Scroll and just mind my own business and play in this huge virtual world, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And then they just kept on coming out with new ones. I fucking fell in love with every single one of them. And then Fallout I actually found later in my early 20s, because someone was like, hey, you need to play this game if you like the Bethesda game Elder Scroll. And I was like, yeah, but you never played Elder Scroll, so you don't know if I was very skeptical. He's like, just play it. And I did. And I was like, ah, fuck, this is amazing. And then I was like, this is it doesn't surpass Elder Scroll, only because they're two very different games. One's post-apocalyptic, like I love that stuff. And then one's like, the mystical stuff. And yeah, so Bethesda, the games they make, I think, are just absolutely perfection.
So from everything you say, it seems like you like to keep to yourself a lot.
I
Where does
do.
the acting part of it come out?
I am a homebody. I do like being alone. But I have my people, and when I have to go to an event, the Leo in me comes out. I'm a Cancer and a Leo. I'm born on the cusp. So like I'm very much like a little like hermit crab, and I like to be at home, and I like my stuff at home to be nice, and it's like my comfort zone. I like the game. I like to be in my imagination. But then there's a part of me that, it sees it as work, and when it goes out, it's just like I just turn it on, and it's me. It's still me, but it's me like outgoing, I'm still the same person. I don't change at all. I just, the flashing lights and people taking my picture, it doesn't bother me. So yeah, I just remain the same. I think that's
fascinating.
Thanks.
Anyways, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate
I hope
it.
the best for you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.